just right now is like Leona isn't back.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. I think bot lane priority is still just as important. They're probably going to have to cut it again. Paul might just face check here. There's no way he starts Cocoon. Cocoon is too dangerous to start because it slows down your clear too much. That's why Elise did not throw out a Cocoon here. They are relying on him face checking, and he does. And Taxa is just going to take the L in terms of clear and take that first blood. It does look like the consolation prize is a ward on that red buff, so they can see if Elise does a 3-camp into an invade or a 3-camp into a bot lane gank. Doubt that's going to happen. Just going to be an invade, probably.
Yeah. Quick technical issue. We'll be back into game nice and quick. But yeah, that was rough. That was rough for Paul. You know, you were saying he's the glimmering hope for the team, and starts by going down. And I think a bit worse for News there is the first blood went to Nilly. So Nilly goes back to base, grabs himself a longsword, grabs an extra pot as well. And, you know, it just has a little bit more safety, a little bit more comfort in this lane. Now, for Kevo, obviously being a short-range Zeri, he has to walk through what is going to be, you know, a bit of poke coming in from these two. There is a lot of range right now for Uniq. So this level, this early game is going to be a little bit harder for them to deal with. As Production just trying to find those Qs to get some health back after that trade.
Yeah, Varus going to find that priority. Looking across the map, though, if I'm the side of Uniq, I am never even smelling top. I'm not going anywhere near top, not sniffing it at all, because when you're playing Cassante into Camille, you're essentially saying, you know what, I'm going to hold you as long as I can, but I will get outscaled at, for example, Divine Sunderer. Maybe I can find some teamfight access. But now that Camille's already accelerated again with that longsword, getting a kill is just going to even out the top lane a bit more to eventually be outscaled anyway, right? So yeah. I think everything we're going to see right now is probably ganks onto this Jace again. This is, once again, just like in that Ruddy game, Jace is incredibly susceptible to ganks. So I would imagine at level 6, Antwer is going to go with this Wukong ult and try to dive that Jace mid lane. Not dive onto tower, but just dash onto him, try to spin, burst him down with that Kali. Until then, though, I would imagine Taxa is going to try and mess with Antwer in the jungle because he does win in that isolation and have the tools to do that early.
So interesting seeing the difference in the build here between... oh, hold on, Errol.
Paul.
Whew, that was scary for him. Paul definitely being that glimmering hope. It's interesting to see, you know, when we had our Jace in game... Was that last game? I don't know. We had a Jace in our previous game. They went for the phase rush over the Kleptomancy. Yeah. Not Kleptomancy. The old one.
You're really showing your age today, huh?
It's been one of those days, yeah. He's gone for the first strike. That's the one.
Exactly.
Obviously, you're in a melee matchup versus, you know, your range capability, so you're more likely to be able to proc it. Hence why that has been the pickup here. And Taxa will spot out Antwer on the crab here. And like you're saying, because he started Cocoon, his clear has been significantly hit. So he is actually a little bit of tempo behind Antwer right now. And has now got that level 3, so he's fine, but it definitely did take a hit for that. And his team obviously going to have to play a little bit slower off the back of their release, has got this kind of first clear, ever so slower. Yes, it's brought a lot of power for their top lane, but ultimately it's still a problem. I say that.
Yeah, and this is the dilemma. This is the dilemma, rather, that Uniq have, in that their engage is really bad, right? Their setup is really bad early game, and Wukong wants to play early. Find ganks, use that priority early, find something, but Soraka just has no setup. So ultimately, Antwer's just going to get chunked a little, Kevo's going to get chunked a little, and they're just going to go back to farming. They have to... You can see Taxa is trying to rely on some engage, some overcommittal to maybe make a counter gank happen. But this is what Verdant want. Verdant significantly outscale in terms of team fight, and this Elise is just sitting there to be insurance that their bot lane does not fall behind.
Yes, but at the same time, like, Kyra and Pedersen are very much aware of this Elise.
Yeah.
And are just going to play this nice and safe. Now they've lost complete vision. Taxa is going to walk out. Did he just cocoon a minion? He's under tower! Oh.
Okay, so I think the idea there was that he smites a minion and cocoons behind it, kind of like you do with a Lee Sin Q, but it didn't quite work. Also, on top of that, he was silenced, so I believe there was like some weird delay there, like he just couldn't do it properly, and then he just has to, you know, lick his wounds and run away. Ultimately, do you really lose much? You're a bit delayed on your second rotation camps, but at the end of the day, you're really not too worried.
It's one of those really weird ones. Like you don't play into Soraka that much, so when you do play into her, it sucks. It feels so rough. Like, you kind of forget about the silence. And you're like, oh, God, that ability is so annoying. because it's instant as well. There's no travel time. It just appears at your feet, and then you're silent.
I hate that ability
It's an irritating ability when you're not used to it. I mean, you're a top laner, so you don't really see it as much.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Yeah, actually, you had the Soraka top phase, didn't you?
No,
not you personally.
Yeah.
But...
I mean, sometimes, but yeah, no one likes Soraka top, especially when it's there. But even if you're like, eventually everyone team fights, right? And you just try to run down the Soraka, he silences you. I play spellcasters mainly, right? Like, think about how I'm in Renekton, right? And everything's cooldown based. So you try to jump on the Soraka and you can't use your cooldowns. You're just sitting there.
Dude,
you know? It's rough.
I'm a LeBlanc player. Like, I know it's rough. Worse. Wing forward, silenced. Cool. That's me done, I guess. Like, oh.
Brutal.
Or even worse, full combo, heal comes in. Okay, all right, I'm done then.
Yeah, and honestly, talking about that heal, right, just bring it back to this game. That heal, I mean, we could look at it in another way, and that it's actually a pretty effective tool against this Jace poke, right? So whether or not they drafted that with that in mind, you know, at team fights, oh, man, the carry got poked, it's okay, we have a Soraka ambulance, we're going to heal it back up, right? Because a lot of playing against Jace is having people to tank, but also having sustain. And they have the K'Sante to tank, potentially, the Jace EQs, and then also the sustain to back that up. So I think they found a decent counter into Errol's Jace here in terms of team fighting. But whether or not it plays out like that, whether or not Errol manages to find EQs onto Peterson instead, these chunks are really nasty. Well played to Clyde there.
Yeah, lovely little slow actually coming in. Kevo earlier did throw out a nice little W as well. We've got a little bit more poke off. As we are seeing Taxa, you know, finally he's feeling a bit more comfortable. He's level 5. He's able to clear through these camps at a much more accelerated pace than he started the game on, but did waste a lot of time bot lane. Luckily, still Elise still has insanely fast clear, so is able to just clear out the camps and head back into the jungle, but definitely feeling the pain a little bit on that amount of wasted time. Errol's going to get himself the blue buff. He's going to be able to keep him in lane, and Paul doing a pretty good job considering the matchup he's in. Because yes, it gets to a point later where Paul will be a real threat to Errol, but for now, in the isolated lane, in the 1v1, Errol just plays at range and is just a complete nuisance where he's going to be able to constantly poke and prod and just clear waves away from Paul. And Paul is just going to have to take the punishment really in this lane.
No, 100%. And also props to Nihus. I was kind of saying how I wasn't impressed by Nihus the split much, but he was down a longsword and multiple potions, and he's still holding his own. Yes, he's down 10 CS, but considering the lead that nearly was handed level 1 because of Paul's like face check, I think he's doing really well, and I'm kind of impressed. Yeah. Lots of poke down onto Kevo. We are at Rift Herald, so both bot lanes shifting up on time. This might just turn into a full-on bloodbath.
Yeah, this could get brutal. The problem is for Kevo is, you know, he's actually taken quite a lot of damage already, so he's going to have to use that heal. The wild growth isn't available to Cly as well, which is the big thing. Same for the Wish, though, onto Pedersen, so haven't got that to work with. Paul is going to eat a little bit of damage. Does dodge away there on the Spiderling with the Shuriken flip. This is getting close. Pedersen heavily chunked out. The smite comes down. It's picked up by Taxa. He is able to pick it up, and no one's going to get the eye. The chains go down. There's the Wish. Level 6 has come in. Nilly taking a whole heap of damage, and West slides in. Paul goes down. Cly able to just about limp away from this one. And look at the damage. Kyra, everybody's blinking hail spells. Kyra getting chased onto. Kevin tries to jump forward. Can't able to do so. The silence is huge. Nilly survives. Cly still not 6 to save the day for his team. Herald secured on 3 kills for Verdant, but they don't pick up the eye.
And this must be the worst feeling in the world for the side of Uniq. Everyone living on 100 HP or less. Massive pickup for Verdant there. They managed to pick up the Herald. Wait, no one got Herald.
No. So Taxa smited it, and Uniq absolutely body blocked them from getting anywhere near it.
Small consolation prize, not letting them get the Herald, but not what you want to see. So close every single time. Paul trying to make it work. Unfortunately, doesn't quite have the damage on the Hextech Alternator. Leaves everyone at 1 HP. Everyone flashing out. And then you have all the dive from Antwerp not being enough to get through those shields from Lulu and the wild growth. Everything. So, really unfortunate stuff for Uniq. And I guess we see that replay. Look how they all dropped to 1 HP. You can see the constant re-engage from both teams, battling it out. JCQ into a massive Kyrax Q. Unfortunately, I think he falls here, right?
I believe he does, yeah. Do you know what's really crazy about this is the fact that Pedersen was 6, so he had Wish. Imagine if Cly had 6. That actually could have been an ace. That wild growth would have been the difference, because Elise jumps in, wild growth, knock up, instant wipe. Like, absolute instant wipe. The survivability. Clyde not being 6 was a little bit sad there, as Taxa may spot out Antwer here on the Dragon. Is going to just rotate towards the bot lane. We'll spot them out. And Antwer playing this nice and safe for now. Throwing the cocoon over the wall. I think Taxa knows that this is going on. Needs to get the vision down as they do shock blast on. Taxa going around on the long flank, and I don't think he's going to be able to secure it in time. It is just going to have to step away, as they do look to jump towards Pool, but Pool is going to play it far back.
Yeah, Kevo tries to land that snipe with that laser beam, doesn't quite come in, and Uniq does secure that dragon. This is exactly what they need, right? They need to make something happen early, because they do get outscaled by that Zeri Lulu, by that Jace poke, because that outrange is pretty nasty, despite having pretty decent engage to get onto that Jace. But then also the side lane, right? The big problem, in my opinion, is the side lane. Who's going to hold side lane, right? Akali's okay into Camille, but Nili has shown he's an absolute beast when it comes to side lane and just individual play. And then Cassante also can't hold side. So that's something that I'm a bit concerned about, right? Eventually the side lane win condition is going to come alive for Verdant. And how Uniq will handle that is the question.
Yeah, I think also the problem is just how accelerated Nili is going to be really rough for them. But for now, it's not really amounting into a too major problem. The gold lead is, you know, marginal. The actual individual kind of CS lead is marginal as well. So, you know, it's not the end of days for them at the moment, as it does look like Uniq are thinking about setting up onto this tower. Antwer in the bush. They are going to be able to pick this plate up, and Kevo just doing his best to clear through the waves. The Chains of Corruption do come down. Kevo pops the ultimate as well. Pedersen's got Wish, so they're feeling comfortable. Antwer dashes forwards. Kevo, he could smell something was awry there.
Absolutely. I think they actually saw Antwer leave the bush momentarily, right? And I don't think Antwer realized that they saw it. So Kevo just kind of, you know, keeping them on their toes, pokes them out, ults to commit to make sure nothing is lost here. But I think this speaks to the draft, right? I feel like today, a big theme has been draft. Unique's draft makes it really hard for Antwer to make plays, right? Yeah. There is zero setup from anyone barring a Varus ult, right? That's it. That's your only engage to set up a Wukong gank, and Wukong wants to make action happen early. This is why I don't really like the Akali pick. I think you need some kind of setup, something better than the Akali to maybe facilitate the Wukong and actually make plays happen to accelerate your comp, which is sorely needed.
Well, it's definitely taken a bit of a slower backseat. You know, we've had our marginal moments for action, but it feels like today, honestly, being a lot slower pace than previous days. I mean, Aragon, all of our days have finished so early that, like, I'm left scratching my head, not knowing what to do with the rest of my afternoon, because our days have just been so fast. But today we've had, you know, we've had a way longer, like, kind of pace of the games, and, you know, I'm kind of here for it. I'm here to see these teams show us some improvement. As Taxa comes in, he lands that cocoon through the minions. Kyra gets the healing on, but he is low. The wish comes down, and he's able to just about survive. Oh, the laser beam coming in from Kevo.
And I don't think it's done yet. Errol's running down, and maybe they're going to look for a siege, or maybe there's a counter gank, but I don't think that that Uniq have the tools to maybe pull this off. Yes, they have the ultimates on the Wukong and the Akali, but that might not be enough. Peterson is chunked. And honestly, well played to Peterson there. He manages to out-heal all the damage whilst also simultaneously blocking the auto-attacks coming from Kevo on that Zeri. In the end, he almost drops. Cyrax almost drops to that laser beam, but I think MVP there in that little play is Peterson.
Yeah, absolutely. Peterson having a fantastic little moment as approaching that 15-minute mark. We are seeing some of these kind of item spikes come through. The Divine Sunder has been finished up for Nili. Nihus is a ways off. He did bypass and go for the ninjas. Obviously, I think it's understandable when you're playing into, you know, the extra item of Nili right now. So does go for that. The Eclipse has been finished up for Errol. Remember, doesn't give Omnivamp anymore as of this patch. They have a changed the item. I believe it was this patch they removed the Omnivamp. And yeah, okay.
Divine.
Nihus even giving the crab up.
Yeah.
That true damage is just filthy. How is Camille an okay? How is this champion still like this? Like, it's one of those champs where it's just like, what were they thinking?
I was about to comment on the fact that the Tabai I'm not a big fan of, right? The Tabai actually, oh my god, I think Antwiz.
Whoa, he's
there
chunked.
It goes. But yeah, on the note of the Tabai, Tabais don't block on hit, right? Which means they don't block the the percentage health damage of a Divine Sunderer. So I actually don't really like the fact that he delayed his main item by going Tabites, because I don't think he gets that much value out of it into a Camille with Sheen items.
Well, and the true damage, yeah.
Yeah, that exactly. It's not just the true damage though, but like any Vine Sunderer procs, it's just not going to do anything. So I would much rather he just built towards his Icewind Dweller earlier, you know, and he was on similar items. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't convert to anything. But he's back to lane. Still a good little tidbit to know. Maybe rush the Aegis next time and get to that. Not Aegis, sorry. Chain Vest, rather, and build that Frostfire later.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there we go. Big charge coming in. They don't actually have the wave to push with, unfortunately, so this tower will stand for the side of Verdant. Uniq, unable to really find an opportunity off the back of that one. Dragon will be spawning up. Sorry, I say will be. It has spawned up. And Verdant are slower to the punch on the rotation over, but they are just strong enough that they can kind of bully their way in and just strong arm their way into this area. In comes the Spiderling, just gets a little bit of damage off. Taxa hasn't actually finished his item yet. Is just rocking the Hextech Alternator, and that Fiendish Codex is, oh my word, ooh, that still hit him.
And we're seeing the power of this poke, right? Nilly actually dropped a wave there to make sure his team could walk into River, because that's how much they value the ability to be on the objective first and make sure they can poke the enemy team out.
Oh, good.
If they have to walk in, I don't think anything's going to happen. K'Sante is just a little bit too tanky, but if they have to walk into the poke of Varus and this sort of thing, because he has that Ghostblade build, right, that lethality build, they might take too much damage, so they bring down Nilly early, contest the wave, contest the vision. Look at all this vision control for the side of Verdant. There are almost 0 red wards here. Saying that, they are going to move in, try and contest it now.
Yeah, luckily, they are on the on some vision for the moment as Nihus just going to take a little bit of damage. Taxa actually in the wrong spot. Gets himself taken back. The silence is huge. And he is down. Absolutely clutch silence coming in from Pedersen. Kevo gets wild growth. And they do get the lockdown. Honestly, Uniq played that fight super well.
Yeah, Nihus finding that pass through the wall. Also, watch Paul, right? He's constantly finding these fights. Nihus.
That was low. That was scary. They're able to survive. They jump onto Kyra. In comes Lily onto the flank, but he doesn't have a team. They're going to have to get this dragon up.
What is going on? Paul on the flank there was really good, by the way, because it meant that they could not run any other way but back to their turret. And eventually, they managed to find Taxa with that Soraka silence, not able to repel and pull him to the wall and one-shot him. That was absolutely massive. But Nihu's stepping up in a big way. After I was saying he's been struggling in this split, he is stepping up versus Nile, who I posed as the potential best top in the league. This is the problem with the Camille into K'Sante matchup. Yes, in isolation, you counter the K'Sante as the Camille with a Divine Sunderer, but it's really hard to out-impact a K'Sante in a team fight, just because of the raw amount of CC he has, right? Yes, you could lock someone down, but still, K'Sante is just, you know, it's a Season 13 champion, does quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Shove coming in here for the side of Verdant. They are just going to be able to maybe take this tower, to be honest. I mean, remember, Zeri does quite a lot of damage with that non-Q auto. It's one of those things you do kind of forget. That does a lot of burst when it's charged up and is able to make quick work of that tower. Mid lane tower finally goes down, and I believe Verdant's mid tower themselves is actually fairly healthy, so they still have like a kind of strong bulwark in which they can hide behind. And Paul looking to see if maybe he can find an assassination off onto Errol. We'll see if it can happen.
Yeah, I think this is the only way that they find kills in the side lane. Like, they could potentially look for a dive if Errol does take a poor trade, but just death bushing in general, just trying to hope that he walks up. But this is typically why you see the blue trinket come out for the side of a Jace, because he doesn't like face checking anyone, right? He's like one of the few top laners, like ranged top laners generally when they're side laning, you get blue trinket so they don't have to check themselves, similar to how an AD carry would. And I expect him to pick one up if he hasn't already, and in turn not be killed by Paul. I think it's just really hard to be aggressive and make any plays outside of objectives, right? I feel like the teams both need reasons to go forward, because otherwise the disengage is too good. Like, you have Elise Repel, you have Lulu, you have Soraka. It's just too much. So I think we're in for a slow game around objectives. Every 5 minutes we might get a fight.
Yeah, definitely. A more, especially when you got these kind of pokey teams, but you've also got the Lulu and the Soraka, but they're going to jump in. Antwer, actually, an amazingly clutch Cyclone. And the shot blast got eaten by the solo minion. That was honestly a lot burnt there. I mean, like, shot blast, TP, not shot blast, sorry, TP and Zeri ultimate, which I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, you lost me as well. Just call it Blitzcrank ult.
Blitzcrank ult.
Pretty much the same thing.
Paul, actually, being potentially chased down here. Errol waiting for the opportunity to jump in. He's getting towards his tower. The speed up comes in. He gets the shuriken flip off just to dodge away on to the skies. And that is going to be it.
And that is exactly what we're saying, right? There's just too much disengage. Any kind of play you make is just going to be disengaged by the Lulu or the Soraka or the Wukong knockup or a TP. I will say that TP loss does hurt a little bit, right? For the next dragon, you are not going to have TP to be able to match on side. Nili might recognize this and walk down earlier than the Cassante because Cassante can't match, as he follows. He doesn't have the opportunity to just TP anymore. Or he just keeps pushing on the side and then TP's down. That is definitely the big thing I'm looking at right now. The next dragon fight, watch those TP flanks and just watch how Nihus has trouble following.
Looks like rotation coming in here from the side of Verdant, moving multiple people down towards this bot side. Paul is going to eat the shot blast. The cocoon goes a little bit wide. Now he's going to jump in. He tries to use the perfect execution, but he is perfectly executed. He jumps up. Down it wears. Oh, no way! Taxa goes down? That wish was so clutch.
Peterson coming in with the clutch wishes every single fight, saving his team and getting Paul the solo kill in the 1v3. I can't say solo kill. Supports go underrated in this league. Peterson, you played well. Damn, that Soraka pick coming in clutch like you said.
That was so clutch. So clutch.
Whew. Now, nothing going to happen more here. I believe Dragon's only a minute away. You can see the timer in the Dragon pit, but both teams definitely want to do something here. I believe both teams will probably think they're strong, right? Especially after Uniq make that play. They think, guys, we're an item. We have Proto Belt. We just completed a second item for our Varus. Let's contest. Let's get our third Dragon, our soul point. And the exact same applies to Verdant. They think they're strong because they have a kill lead and they don't want to give soul point over to the side of Uniq. So I imagine what's going to happen is Nili's going to split push here, and like that TP advantage we're talking about, look at how Nihus can't farm this wave. He just has to walk to make sure he's there in case there's a TP.
I actually feel like Nili may not even rotate for this dragon. The problem is it is dragon number 3 for Uniq, but he might just sit in side lane for a bit. He's got TP, so looks like that might just be the answer. Is Paul.
The engage.
Jumped onto. Kevo's got to pop the ultimate. Paul lands the shuriken flip. They've got the wild growth. It's going to get used. Paul has used the perfect execution. He's still got that final dash. They're trying to land the shots onto him. Whoa. Oh my word, Paul! How does he keep getting away with it? Kevo chunked. Kyra just needs to land it. The slow's coming in. Kevo gets the shield off. He steals it away. He needs to dodge away on the arrow. He's able to do so as Antware now on the side, looking for the monkey bot. Can get the flash down. Kevo steals another shield. He tries to dash over the wall. Alcove Gaming. Not going to be enough as Nili being chunked out by the monkey. Taxa lands a little bit of damage. The shot blast coming in from Errol. But Paul... You were goddamn right, Aragon. This guy is stepping up. He is the shining light for his team right now.
Despite being 3 deaths down, now 4, he manages to find the solo winning gameplay. 1 versus 2 against his biggest counter in Lulu. He manages to find that pick, burst someone I didn't expect, I didn't see coming, managed to turn around the entire game for his team, secure that soul point, and maybe even the win, potentially add that soul.
That was super clean by Paul. He is terrifying right now.
I love this guy, man. I love his name. His name is so Giga Chad, it's unbelievable. Did he just take his first name?
No.
And add 227?
No.
Not another
way.
One.
He's actually going to do it. He's going to chase forward and Taxus out. Oh. Can't land a Q. Paul is so good. What the hell?
I mean, he's just mechanical, right? He's so mechanical. If you take a look at his OPGG, right? Like solo queue doesn't accurately reflect completely in competitive, but his OPGG is stacked. I believe he was a challenger, German mid laner, and he plays all the high skill cap champions and has really good win rates on them. So that's why I was initially like, okay, this is a guy to keep an eye on, and he's just proving it every single game.
Oh, phenomenal. Well, for now, as we've hit that 25-minute mark, gold lead is currently pretty close, actually. Paul's done a good job to kind of put a band-aid on this game, which it felt like Verdant definitely had a larger amount of control over right now. And I do worry now, Paul's kind of unleashed. He's going to finish that Shadow Flame. I believe he actually might have it finished already. And And he's just in a very, very comfortable position. On the other side, yeah, Kevo, strong, 3-0. But, I mean, like, Pool has just been able to deal with him every time. And we haven't really seen Nilly use the advantage he got early. I think that's the major thing right now. Like, he hasn't really been a major threat to anybody on the side of Uniq yet.
No, absolutely. And just on theme with what you're saying, the topic of like how well you use your gold, that's been brought up a lot. There's been like graphics made in the community of like how well people use their gold. And I've got to say, after this game, Paul has to be up there, right? He's 2-4, down a bunch of CS and gold. If you take a look at the overall golds for each person, he's down. Like, yeah, thank you, observers. 8.5k to almost over a K down, right? Yet he's finding these game-winning picks. Despite the situation he's been put in by Verdant, he's still the MVP to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really big stuff coming in. That Spiderling walked past Kyra, by the way. That was so weird. The W literally just like it could have popped on Kyra. I know it doesn't matter because it's not gonna do that much damage, but like never seen that happen.
I didn't even notice.
It just picked Pedersen and chose violence. I mean, he has got Night Harvester, so it does do quite a lot of damage now, the Spiderling. It's one of those things about like Night Harvester and the current version of Elise where you do go this Night Harvester build. It does a serious amount of damage. Like, I mean, Elise is always a very upfront burst champion. Like, her entire damage comes from, you know, well, just what she, like, her upfront burst. But Night Harvester just leans into that even more.
Exactly. In terms of gameplay, we are going to see some Baron starts. I'm really glad we're going to see something because we were just getting an ARAM, and I think with these compositions, ARAM isn't optimal because there's no way to engage. I think this is gone, you know. They take it so damn fast with this Zeri and this Jace.
Yeah,
it's just gone.
Well, I did Wild Growth himself, but gets the speed out, Cocoon's down, and Verdant, they just zip out of there. 1 minute 30 until the Cloud Drake comes down, and that is sold technically for the side of Uniq. Annoyingly for Uniq, you know, it's not as impactful as the previous card soul we had earlier on in the day. I feel like in this game in particular, yeah, Nihus can probably use it fairly well, and so can Pool, but like, they'd much rather a Hextech or Infernal Soul.
I'm kind of just wondering just what happened. Are we just going to accept the fact that Verdant just took a free Baron? Like, that was really interesting. They just caught them sleeping, and I guess Uniq didn't expect them to take it that fast. I guess when I look at it, I don't expect them to take it that fast either. Maybe the Spiderlings do more damage than I think. Maybe Jace does more damage than I think. But that was really surprising to me. Now with that Baron buff, with those extra combat stats, maybe they can contest this 4th dragon, secure that dragon, deny that soul, whilst also playing for split push with Nilly on that tier 2.
Yeah, you'd assume that they're going to try and contest this next one. I think at least being that much more faster is going to be scarier. Like I said, it's luckily for Verdant. Even if they do lose this soul, it's not going to be, put us into Sloss's entire health bar. It's not going to be, you know, the Infernal or the Hextech, because I feel like I feel Akali with that. And oh my word, Errol. I mean, Pedersen's basically out. Didn't he just flash? He did. Kevo's going to punish him here for this. They are chunked. They're going to have to give this one up. Taxes on for the chase. Nihu's losing a lot of HP, jumps into the middle of the team, and the Wish does nothing. That should be Dragon over to Verdant. Although
and you've got to wonder what that was. Nihu's just seemed like he was so frustrated that he wanted to engage because his whole team was poked out. He felt an urgency to engage before his team got poked out even more. But the reality is your engage on Cassante just isn't good. We pointed this out as a flaw of the team composition. There's just no engage outside of maybe a Varus ultimate, you know? It's really difficult. I guess you have flank opportunities, but they didn't find those. And instead, Nihus goes for a really scuffed engage forwards and gets punished for it.
Yeah. Heavily punished as well. Now with the Baron up, Verdant are just poking away. Pool has been spotted out. I want to see what... Okay, not so much to Pool. Those shots was pretty scary to Pedersen. I mean, that W, that was the hardest thing I've ever said.
A sentence and a half.
That is not okay. That is not an okay amount of damage, Errol.
You know, I haven't thought of Zeri as a poke champion for a long time, ever since they nerfed AP Zeri, which was just one-shotting everyone.
I hated it.
Now, with this accelerated Zeri building so much AD, the laser beams are really like on theme with the Jace composition now. I understand why they've drafted it. They can use the laser beams to poke alongside the Jace, I forgot the ability name, Shock Blast.
Shock Blast.
And just complete takeover fights. The second they poke out Peterson, the game is done because Peterson needs HP to heal people, right?
Yeah.
So that's definitely the win condition of Verdant, and definitely they're seizing it.
He's going to need a Warmogs. Get that
Oh,
recovery.
100%.
I don't think the game's going to go late enough because like he's obviously building a separate item. You don't want to go Warmogs second.
I think they need Nihus to step up and start blocking some of this poke. It's really difficult, but I feel like that's their only win condition, to block the poke using Nihus.
I completely agree. As Verdant is now playing behind his team, as he should. Watch this hit him. No. Oh, what? He died to Zerial.
He got deleted. I mean, absolutely deleted.
It does do like 600 damage, I think. Zerial does like a lot of AP damage, but damn.
Everything stacked on top.
Oh my god, this is not okay.
I think they could end here, you know?
Win. Yeah, I actually think that pick on the Kyra was enough. Like, maybe they do play it a little smarter. Maybe they do play it a little slower. It looks like that is going to be the game plan for Verdant. But man, this has been a incredibly slow-paced game, and you know the tempo has been very controlled. Yeah, but it just hit a point where like Errol now just takes people out of the game with his shot blasts. He got another serrated on that base.
Yeah, it's the famous 3-item spike for Jace. The second he gets to Cyrilda's Eclipse Mana, that's actually the win con of Jace. If you ask top laners when you want to get to, that is it. So it's showing, right? But yeah, that's serrated Dirk extra, and Taxa.
No.
If he face checks, no chance.
He just got either cocoon. I mean, like, Paul is dead.
He's trying.
That was optimistic, because Kyrex now getting chased down. Nilly is going to get himself in the ultimate with Antwerp. They do throw the Chains of Corruption down, but look on the backside. It actually is Errol getting himself 1v1 by Nihus, but maybe it's actually the other way around. Errol flashing the wall. Can he land this shot blast? That's going to be the big question. Misses it, unfortunately, onto Kyrex, but Verdant, I think they're into the base. They played it nice and controlled, and Paul, he was the glimmering hope for Uniq, but unfortunately, that was a bit of a mistake because he tried to find the kill onto Clay and pays the ultimate price. Pedersen jumped out, Kevo flashing forwards, and that is a killing spree for Nilly. 3-0-2. Watch for one last shot blast to send Pedersen back to the grey screen. Not going to be necessary. 33 minutes on the clock, and Verdant take the win.